Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on the Destiny Project, Learning Transversal Skills with MOOC Courses. Now, this is a webinar that is aimed towards HI academics. So this is, for your information, a project that is being funded by the European Union. It's an Erasmus Plus project, and it's a project that involves 4 universities: the University of La Laguna, the University of Staffordshire, the Technological Institute of Technology of Crete, and the Doba Fakulteta in Slovenia. Now, the 4 universities are working together with 4 businesses. We've got BitJam in the United Kingdom, we've got EVM in Spain, we've got Sentiment Analysis in Greece, and we've got Cadiz in Slovenia. And together, all of the partners are working towards the creation of MOOCs, MOOC courses. So let's get started. Today's webinar is going to cover the following items. It's going to cover education, what is education, and that will lead us into MOOCs, what they are, their characteristics, what are the current trends in terms of MOOC creation, and then that will lead us into what MOOCs offer students, academics, and HI institutions. Now, once we've done that, briefly giving you an overview of MOOCs and their trends and what they have to offer, we'll try to offer you some information about how they're structured, how to perform evaluations, the sorts of video formats that are used in them, and how they're launched, to give you an idea of the work involved. And then we'll conclude the webinar today with the Destiny Project and our objectives in terms of MOOC creation and what benefits our MOOCs will have for work seekers, for employers, for academics like yourselves, and also for HI institutions. So let's get started by asking ourselves the question, what is education? Well, education is simply shared stories, stories about our research, our findings, what we know, what we don't know, what still needs to be found out. So we have someone who wants to tell them. This could be academics like yourselves, someone who wants to listen to these stories, so your students. And so education is something that happens when you put these two together, someone who wants to teach together with someone who wants to learn. Now, if we look at this in terms of a simple equation, you will have a time and a place, the time and place of the teacher. You will also have the time and place of the student. So, mathematically, in traditional education, both times and places are equal. So, this would look like a traditional classroom-based setting. We have the teacher in the same time as the students, and the teacher in the same place as the students. But in virtual education, times or places can be different. The connection that links them is technology. So teaching staff can now deliver their classes via the internet. Now, virtual education has also been around for centuries in another form. Teachers and students have found themselves in different times and places and have been connected by a technology that was called books. So this isn't a new media. This was an ancient type of virtual teaching. This ancient technology found someone in a time and place that was different to the student. They were telling a story, as I said, to someone in a different time and place. And the success of this type of education was based on expert users. That meant having good readers and also good writers, good students and good teachers. So in the past, reading and writing were used for educational purposes, and today, recording and playback are used for educational purposes. The process is very much the same, it's just the tools that are different. But when education has a time and a place, this means we have a course. Now, a course is something that you can go to. You go to it to listen to a story. Therefore, a course is where we have one story with one host and several guests. Now, this leads us into MOOCs. Now, as we said before, MOOCs are a type of course that uses or makes use of modern technologies. But for those who are unfamiliar with MOOCs, MOOCs are massive, open, online courses. They're massive because of the huge student numbers that can be involved in this type of course. As many as 100,000 students can enroll on any given course. By open, we mean they are free. Students don't have to pay for these courses. If they pay for anything, they may have to pay for a completion certificate, but that very much depends on if they want a completion certificate or not. Online, so these courses are run using a combination of didactic materials, videos, forums, documents, and interactive materials that can be found on the platform. So students don't need to go to a physical location to receive the course. And something that's of importance in terms of MOOC design is they have to be very attention-grabbing. They have to use interesting materials, interesting formats, hence the use of videos. And the content is all very much about encouraging creative thinking, networking with other students, with peers, and improving the learning process through alternative routes. Now, MOOCs initially came into being in 2011 in higher education institutions, but it wasn't really until 2013 that they took off and they were being used to transmit knowledge openly, so shared knowledge. But in 2013, there were much fewer MOOCs than we will see in 2015. And in fact, in 2015, just in a 6-month period from February 4th, 2015 to November 30th, 2015, we saw the creation of almost 600 MOOCs. So this is when we feel MOOCs really took off here in Europe. Now, looking at the images you've got on the screen in front of you, you can see MOOCs being created in different countries across Europe. You can see the total number of MOOCs being created on the left in the circle, and then MOOCs being created in each country, each member state. So the two that seem to be leading the way at this moment in time appear to be Spain and the United Kingdom. Now, what are the trends when it comes to MOOC creation? Well, in HEI settings, MOOCs are used to cover content that's not generally covered in taught classes at university. Now, as I said before, MOOC courses are always designed to be attractive and to grab the attention of potential students, but they are very much about imparting knowledge that is needed or demanded by wider society. So MOOCs are more about satisfying people's general curiosity. For example, there are MOOCs on how to invest in the stock market, or other MOOCs on how to create apps for smartphones, or even MOOCs on how to read Egyptian hieroglyphics. They haven't been designed to cover academic content, the sort of content we would see in taught classes in HEIs. Now, whenever you're thinking of creating a MOOC, it's very important to remember what students are looking for in MOOCs, or in education in general, but specifically when it comes to MOOCs. They're looking for a training course that is complementary to their academic studies. They're also interested in receiving classes from highly qualified experts in their field. They're also looking to receive classes from prestigious universities. They also want courses and content that is going to fill their curriculum in some way, improve their CV. They're interested in perhaps finding content that they haven't been able to find in the traditional setting, and many students are also looking to fulfill their own personal curiosity more than anything. So this is what students tend to demand from MOOCs. Now, what can MOOCs offer? Well, MOOCs are able to fulfill that demand, that curiosity that students have. They offer a wide range of subjects. They're very, very diverse in terms of what they can offer. There's a complete flexibility in that sense. They enable students to direct their learning. They enable students to study at their own pace, what they want, when they want to. Because of the online dynamics, classes are online, so they can be studied anywhere, anytime, as long as there's an internet connection and a computer available. Now, the good thing about MOOCs is that they are delivered by competent experts, and they are delivered by university professors, and the training is delivered by prestigious universities and it's their academic staff. But in terms of the public that we are addressing today, you probably want to know, what do MOOCs offer professors? What will they offer you if you participate in the creation of a MOOC? Well, firstly, they will offer you universal reach. MOOCs will enable you to raise people's awareness about your academic profile when you teach on them. They'll be able to see how you teach, what you teach, and they'll probably investigate you as an academic and try and look into what sort of research you've performed. So this in turn will also lead to you attracting international doctorate students to your line of investigation, research, and it's going to be a springboard that will let you know, let you tell people about your research and your findings. So that's the first benefit to you as professors. The second benefit is innovation. Now, MOOCs will allow you to participate in something that's innovative. We're now at a phase where we've got an innovative pedagogical methodology being utilized, and you can get involved in that. You can be one of those leading the way, as it were. It's also going to allow you to reach students of all nationalities, social classes and ages. So there's a certain amount of social responsibility there. And it's going to allow you to participate in the current trend towards creating digital teaching environments and digital learning environments. Now, as teaching staff, you also want to make a social contribution with your research. You want to make a social contribution, and MOOCs can help you to do this because they help you to offer education to those students who are lacking resources or who are lacking access to specialised content because they can't pay for a university degree or a university master's. You can help also offer education to people who are lacking the time to study in formal institutions. I've given you the simplest example, full-time workers. You can also participate in helping to grow this corpus of online knowledge that exists online, which is available for everyone in the world to share. So that's how you can contribute socially. Now, one of the reasons this slide has been included, what do MOOCs offer HI institutions, is really to make academics aware that this is definitely going to be the future of teaching in HEIs. This isn't a fad, it's something that's going to be around. So if you get involved in it now, it's very much a good thing because it's not going anywhere fast. Now, the reason being is that, as I said before, HEIs are able to reach an international audience with MOOCs. This will help them promote their academic curricula. This will act as a marketing tool that will give them very cheap but very effective international visibility. It will help the institution increase its prestige and its reputation, and it will also act as a tool to attract undergraduates or postgraduates or even visiting students or visiting academics to the university in question that has created the MOOC. In terms of innovation, MOOCs give HI institutions an opportunity to create an online presence, their brand online. Now, this is something that will reap many rewards. In fact, it all links back in terms to prestige, but in terms of participating in innovation, they are going to help create an innovative educational space, and they are going to help create a new type of prestige. Under the University of, for example, La Laguna's quality assurance name and brand. This is a new type of prestige, this online type of prestige that hopefully in the future businesses will recognize more than they do today. And HI institutions are interested in MOOCs because they have a responsibility to give back to society in terms of the research that they're performing. So in terms of social responsibility, universities are going to be able to say that they are supporting education everywhere. They are supporting education for those lacking economic means. They are supporting education for those lacking time, and that they are participating in growing this online body of shared knowledge. But for universities, obviously universities have a business model to follow. They're interested in income and revenue. They're interested in making sure that they are not going to be losing out as a result of MOOC creation. Obviously, with a free course, many universities might initially be worried that they're giving away their knowledge for free, but that's not the case. MOOCs can generate direct income revenue streams or indirect income revenue streams. An example of a direct revenue stream would be students paying for an enrollment fee onto the MOOC, or students paying for graduation certificates for the MOOC. In terms of indirect revenue fees, universities could offer complementary resources through the MOOCs, for example, the sale of books or the sale of mobile apps for smartphones. So at first glance, universities may be worried about the creation of MOOCs or the emergence of MOOCs, but I think at a second glance, they'll realize that it can be quite beneficial for their business models, especially when looking at the fact that they do not require administrative teams, so it makes them very cheap to run, that they are a very cheap way of marketing the university, but very successfully at an international level. And they also are going to create a fantastic bridge between academia, the academic world, and the business world. So this is the reason why MOOCs are going to be here to stay. Now, for the academics out there who are interested in how MOOCs are structured, well, according to best practice recommendations, MOOCs should last no less than 4 weeks and no more than 12 weeks. Now, this maximum duration is to avoid high student dropout rates. No, a lower number of weeks is probably better in order to increase the number of students who reach completion. Now, one module is equivalent to 1 week. So in week 1 of the course, you will do module 1. In week 2 of the course, you will do module 2, etc. Now, in a 1 week time frame, the workload that students are expected to complete should not go beyond the 3-hour mark. So there should not be more than 3 hours total work for the student. So there will be video content, reading exercises, online tests, etc. But none of this in its totality should go beyond the 3-hour mark. Now, the idea is that the modules that are offered each week should be divided into bite-sized pieces. Again, this is all about helping reduce dropout rates. We're trying to facilitate learning, we're trying to create more interest in the topic. So by breaking things down into bite-sized pieces, into subsections, we're helping students to study when they want and making this very, very accessible to them. Now, modules must include audiovisual materials, theoretical content, and evaluation activities. They can also include optional activities. Now, audiovisual materials are videos, video pills that are basically the teacher imparting their knowledge. Now, the great majority of content will be in the video format because this creates more interest in the subject material. Theoretical content. Now, teaching staff can provide any supporting material that they want to accompany the videos. It could be other audiovisual content. It could be links to external websites, links to external lectures. It could also be PDFs, or it could be bibliographies. It could be anything that the teaching staff feel necessary to support the theoretical content. In terms of evaluation, now, unlike talk classes, teaching staff on MOOCs don't have to be involved in correcting any evaluations. This is MOOCs are essentially running themselves once they've been set up. So the evaluation activities normally come in two forms. The two most common types of assessment are either online activities that self-correct in the form of questionnaires, or offline activities which involve peer-to-peer correction between students. But again, the platform that's used will help self-correct those so that students aren't lost. They'll be given criteria about how to correct the work, etc. So they'll be guided, but the teacher doesn't have to be heavily involved in this. In fact, it's very much hands-off once the platform's set up. In terms of optional activities, teaching staff could decide to do questionnaires, or they could ask students to perform research outside of the platform. It's up to you. Now, in terms of the structure of modules per week, here is a sample of a course. Now, don't worry that it's in Spanish. We have on the screen in front of you 4 modules. Week 1, Module 1, Verbal Communication. Week 2, Module 2, Teamwork. Week 3, Module 3, Problem Solving and Analysis of Results. And Week 4, Module 4, Negotiation. Now, what you'll see here is that in Week 1, Module 1, the content is being taught using videos, and then we also have additional materials in the form of PDFs. We have an activity for students to perform, a peer-to-peer activity, and we also have a survey. So in Week 2, we have video content, we have a lecture with accompanying PDF, and we have an activity and a survey as well. So this is just how the course has been broken down, and this is the teaching staff who decides this content. So you decide what you put into your module. That content, once it's uploaded onto the platform, will look like this. This is a visual example of how that content would look like on the edX platform, for example. So here on the left, we can see Week 1, which is Module 1. We can see the subcategories of that module, so the bite-sized pieces, the videos. We can see at the top here the videos, which can be selected here, and we can play the video here. We can also download the video if necessary, if we want to download it onto our computer because the internet connection's slow and we can't stream it. So at the top on the menu bar as well, we have PDF documents or any attached documents. We also have surveys, etc. But all of this is being presented in chronological order, the order that the student has to undertake the tasks. And as I said before, in total, all of this cannot be longer than 3 hours in terms of student workload. So something to make very clear to you, to academic staff who are interested in MOOCs, now having listened to this very brief introduction to MOOCs, is that once the MOOCs are up and running on the platform, teaching staff are very much hands-off. You don't have to perform evaluations. These will run automatically. MOOCs offer self-directed learning. So this includes pre-programmed evaluations and assessments. So the questionnaires that you create for students are automatically corrected. Surveys that you create are not used to evaluate participants or award them any grades. In fact, the surveys are really more for those of you out there who want to perform research of your own and want to gather data for maybe further research further on, or papers that you want to write further on. But this has no effect on student grades or the evaluation process. In terms of offline activities in peer-to-peer correction, each participant's asked to submit their work, but again, it's not the teacher who corrects them. The platform will randomly assign these tasks to another participant. So students are correcting each other's work. Now, communication tools can be used within MOOCs. Teaching staff can create forums to generate debate, to facilitate the exchange of knowledge and materials amongst participants. But again, this is all about helping students direct their own learning. So, teaching staff don't have to worry about participating in MOOCs because they're worried about MOOC participation increasing their already very busy workloads. If we look at videos now, MOOCs, as I said, contain a lot of videos to deliver the content. Now, there are 3 different types of video format. The first is the presenter format, where you will see the academic staff next to the presentation that they're giving on screen. The second is the video tutorial format. Now, this does give professional results. It's very, very widely used in MOOCs because there's no prior editing experience necessary. This is a very easy format for all academic staff to pick up very quickly, and the teachers can decide whether they want to appear on screen, as you can see on the right here, or whether they don't want to appear on the screen. So it will just be a voiceover type class. So the students will only see your presentation and hear your voice and maybe see your subtitles, but they won't see your face. And then the third type is a conference style. So this type of style is going to require assistance from some type of technical support unit at your university, but it does give very professional results. But it looks like you're in a congress or a conference, so you will be on screen, and you can either increase the size of your presentation and your slides or decrease them as and when you feel is necessary. So those are the 3 types of video formats that are typically seen in MOOCs. Now, I can't repeat enough that academic staff will not have extra workload once they have created the MOOC, once the MOOC has been launched. The only thing teaching staff will be asked to do is to log in daily to their module, just to ensure that the module's not experiencing any technical problems, just to make sure that it's up and running, just to make sure they haven't received any message on the forum from students saying that they can't log in or that they're having some sort of technical issue. That's all. So if the platform and the MOOC is configured correctly from the start, the platform will do everything that you need to do. The platform will do everything for you. Teaching staff don't need to correct work. They don't need to participate in forum debates unless they want to. So it's completely up to the teacher how much they participate. Now, teaching staff can participate, and they do at times, to clarify student doubts, to guide forum debates, but the idea of MOOCs, and we would like to remind academic staff of this, is that students are there to resolve their own questions so that they learn to become autonomous learners, so that they solve and resolve their own questions with their peers. So this is really about emphasizing that MOOCs should not greatly increase workload once they're launched. So this brings us then to the Destiny Project and Destiny Project MOOCs. Now, Destiny stands for Developing Employability Skills Through Innovative Education Using MOOCs for Youth. This is a 3-year project funded by the European Union under the Erasmus Plus Cooperation for Innovation and the Exchange of Good Practices Action. This is a project that operates across Europe, and it involves higher education institutes working in cooperation with private sector organisations, the ones that I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, but who you can see here again. Now, in the Destiny project, we've set ourselves the task of creating MOOCs that will do something slightly different. We have set ourselves the task of creating MOOCs that will enable those who are seeking work, or even those who are already in work, to develop transversal competencies. Transversal competencies that are needed in different job positions. Now, the idea is that our MOOCs will benefit workers and employers alike. The former will be better trained, and the latter will have more qualified and capable staff. Now, this type of training, the training in transversal competencies, is not normally offered as part of formal studies in HEI institutions. But we've performed research in year 1 of the project, and according to businesses and human resources departments that were interviewed as part of the Destiny project, these transversal competencies, are of great importance. So, we aim to benefit work seekers by making them better qualified, making sure that they have the competencies that are not being taught in HI institutions, but that are being demanded from HR agencies and businesses. And we're benefiting them by enabling them to perfect transversal competencies in order to carry out their duties professionally. We're also helping employers find skilled workers. We're helping them by finding skilled workers to offer quality services, to have satisfied clients, and we're helping them to better manage their resources, for example, by having staff who know how to manage time effectively. And we're also helping academics like yourselves, and we're also helping HI institutions, because we are now giving you the opportunity to provide education that complements formalized classroom-based curricula. We're helping academics and HEIs to connect better to wider society and to connect better with businesses. This is a pioneering project. This is the first of its kind, because it's the first of its kind to offer training in transversal skills using MOOCs. Now, in the Destiny project, each higher education institute that is working in the project, the 4 I've mentioned previously, are working closely with a business organisation, the other 4 that I mentioned previously, to ensure access to work seekers and to local employers, and to get work seekers involved in MOOC study clubs. So in addition to creating MOOCs, online education, we are also creating MOOC study clubs. Now, the Destiny project has researched the training needs of businesses to identify what businesses consider to be essential competencies in their employees. Now, the 4 partners working the Destiny project have analysed different sectors. In Spain, the University of La Laguna has been analysing tourism and the needs of businesses within tourism. The University of Staffordshire in UK has been analysing healthcare and the needs of businesses working within healthcare. In Greece, the Technological Institute of Engineering has been analysing the needs of businesses within the sector of engineering, and in Slovenia, the University of Dover has been analysing the needs of businesses. Now, we know, thanks to our research in these 4 sectors, the specific transversal competencies that are required in each of these. So here are the list of transversal competencies. It's a long list at the moment. So we've got at the top of the list communication, learning and innovation skills. We've also got enthusiasm, etc., etc. Now I won't read through that entire list for you, but as you can see, these are the sorts of skills and competencies that is very difficult to find in an HEI setting. So, why create Destiny Project MOOC? Well, I think it's obvious that we are creating Destiny Project MOOCs because we need to provide more than just an online course. We need to provide training that assists participants in acquiring or developing and improving certain transversal competencies or skills. Now, generally speaking, teaching transversal competencies is a very hard task. To teach them often involves using a very practical methodology involving training drills. So we've set ourselves that task. We've set ourselves the challenge of designing and delivering training to develop participants' understanding and skills in the following: in team leadership, in teamwork and collaboration, in verbal and non-verbal communication, in problem solving, professional ethics, enthusiasm, friendliness, and conflict resolution, and all of those transversal competencies that were mentioned previously. But to do this, we need your collaboration. We need academics like yourselves to help us in creating these MOOCs that offer these transversal competencies. So we've invited you to listen to this webinar and to listen to what MOOCs are and what part they may play in higher education and how they may benefit you, because we would like you to join the project. So are you interested in joining the project? Would you like to help work seekers improve their skills and their job prospects as a result of the course that you help create? Would you like to participate in a project that uses an innovative pedagogical methodology? Well, if the answer is yes, this is what we are going to ask you to do. We will ask you to help us in creating a MOOC that contains 3 or 4 modules. Normally, we will ask one professor to create one module. However, if you want to create more modules, that's fine. You decide how much you can help us. Now, these modules that you'll be creating will be based on research performed in year 1 of the Destiny Project. So, the participating academic staff will choose from that list of transversal competencies that we've shown you. It's the academic staff who will decide on the design of the course, and as I said, one teacher will be responsible for one module. However, if you are happy to take on board more modules because you feel it's necessary to deliver the course, then that's fine as well. So each module that is being created may contain one competency or more than one competency. You decide how the module is broken down. If necessary, an entire MOOC of 4 weeks can be dedicated to delivering a single competency. So in other words, one competency will be taught over the course of several weeks. We hope that you've liked today's webinar. We hope you found it informative. We hope we've piqued your interest and that you would like more information about the Destiny Project. If you do, please use the email provided by your local Destiny partner. And if you have any questions, they'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you very much.